There are a lot of myths about how to study and pass your bar exam. And in this upcoming series, I'm going to look at 10 of those biggest myths. Today, we'll start with one that's fundamental, but really surprising. I title it, It's All About Me. Stick around and I'll tell you more. I'm Jackson Mumey, the owner and founder of Celebration Bar Review. And for the past 25 years, I've helped thousands of bar takers, people just like you, to make their next bar exam the last bar exam. If you want to know more about how we do that, check out the links on this page after this video. Well, we're starting a series that I call 10 Myths About the Bar Exam. And in these next 10 video messages, I'm going to take one myth in each message and talk a little bit about it in order to help you see the truth about the bar and figure out how you can make the next bar exam your last bar exam. Now, these myths that I'm going to be talking about are things that I've seen over the years, and most of them, I think, apply to most bar takers. But at one point or another, most people going through the bar exam will at least cross paths with all of these 10 myths. And I hope that in talking about them in a little less formal and maybe a little more entertaining way, it might give you some insight into the things that are happening or might happen to you as you prepare for your bar exam. Now, I'm not going to try and do a countdown. We're just going to take myth number 1 through myth number 10. And I don't know that there's any particular order to any of them. But the myth that I'm starting with today is one that could be the top myth as well as the first one that we start with or the last one. And the reason is it's so pervasive. And the myth is simply this, the statement that it's all about me. And by that, I mean that the person who says it's all about me as the bar taker. Now, a little bit of quick background. Many years ago, I taught high school, and my children had the unfortunate experience of having to be in my own class. And my daughter, who then went on to law school and is now the senior editor of our course and very successful at all of this, she was a very calm, focused person, as you might imagine. But she had a best friend who was just completely a full-blown, just a wild child sometimes, but really lovely. In any event, her friend, who was full of energy and lovely and fun, was a student also in my classes. And whenever she came into my class, her constant mantra was, attention on me, focus on me, pay attention to me. And that's just the way that she lived pretty much her entire life. Then she had children and she learned that it was attention on them, focus on them. In any event, it was actually kind of funny because it was just the way that this individual wanted the world to work. Just pay attention to me. And it certainly was a cute thing for a high school kid. But you know, it's a little bit wearing when you're talking about an adult taking a bar exam who takes the same approach. And as I work with bar students, whether they're coming out of their law school experience as 3Ls or 4Ls, or they're taking the exam as a repeat bar taker, or if they're licensed attorneys taking the exam because they're moving to a new jurisdiction. One of the most common myths that I encounter is this notion that it's all about me. Everything has to revolve around me as the bar taker for the period of time that I'm studying. Now, that's a myth. And to be sure, taking the bar exam is hard work. There's no mythology about that. We're going to talk a lot about that in the next few messages. The work of studying for the bar is intense and it is stressful, at least potentially. But I think that there are ways that you can mitigate the tension and the stress. And one of the interesting things that happens is that when someone becomes obsessed about the exam, that it becomes their entire world, that the universe in fact is focused on their bar exam, that is a bad sign. Now, you know, from time to time, we have things going on in the bigger world. And certainly right now in our U.S. presidential politics and congressional politics and all of the things going on, I would say that the vast majority of people in the world are much more interested in what's going on in Washington and in the stock market and in a variety of world affairs than they are about your bar exam. Makes sense, doesn't it? Nonetheless, I'm constantly besieged by students who behave as though there's nothing else in the world except their bar exam. Now, I understand that rationale. I understand that there is a huge amount riding on the outcome of the test, and particularly in difficult economic times and in times when the bar exam is so difficult to pass, not passing can be a disaster. I totally get that. But the question that has to be asked is, who does better when they're obsessed about the exam? When someone thinks that the test is all about them, and so they become literally impossible to deal with, does that help? You know, if you think that everyone in the coffee shop should be quiet so you can study, or that your family and friends should leave you alone every night and every weekend, or that everyone around you should listen to you talk about the bar exam and how hard it is on a regular basis or a constant basis, the answer to that obviously is no. In fact, it seems to me that what's more important at this stage is that you have a broader perspective, that you have some broader, bigger purpose to what you're doing. One of the things that I tell my bar students, and it often elicits real surprise, is that instead of working harder or doing more, or to quit their job and study for the bar full time, I often say just the opposite. Go get a job. If you can't find a job, go volunteer. You need to do something else for somebody else. And then I hear, don't you understand, Jackson? I'm busy. I've got to study. I've got to learn the rule against perpetuities. I've got to memorize the 27 hearsay exceptions and so on and so forth. Get a grip. That won't happen. And it doesn't need to happen, as you'll find out as we go through these myths. When you begin to see what's out in the world around you, and I don't care where you live, what part of the world or what part of the country, when you see the perspective of what's going on around you, you get a greater perspective on the work that you do as a member of the bar, as a member of our profession. And one of the things that perspective provides is that the work that we do as lawyers is not generally life and death. It's important, but people taking the bar exam don't live and die on the bar exam. At least that's the truth that I've experienced. You know, in the 25 plus years I've been doing this, I haven't lost anybody actually in the bar exam. We've had a few close calls, but no one has died in the bar exam that I've worked with. My point is simply that there's more going on than the bar exam. And in a world where we know that there's more happening, it's really self-absorbed to think that your world is the most important. Without exaggeration, if you become obsessed with what's important to you, you will lose perspective. You'll start obsessing about your studies. You'll start thinking about it in the middle of the night, and you'll lose sleep. You'll start destructive behaviors like smoking or drinking or not exercising or taking some sort of a drug to help you get smarter because you're stressed out about the bar exam. Or you'll start taking Xanax to stay calm. You'll get into fights with your spouse or your partner or your kids or your parents or your boss. You'll essentially become a giant pain in the neck or other parts of the anatomy to those around you. In fact, maybe you'll find that your own pets run away when they see you. Now look, if that happens, that's a bad sign. This is an indication that you've gone over the top. You've become so obsessed about your needs that you lost sight of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Now, this myth is so dangerous because the more that you think that the exam is about you, the more you lose the ability to step back and analyze it and deal with it calmly, coolly, and rationally. Think about it. Why do people hire attorneys? Well, one reason is because they need someone who's dispassionate and objective to represent their interests. The old saying that a fool that, someone that represents themselves has a fool for a client is pretty true when it comes to taking the bar exam. If all you can think about is your needs, your wants, your fear of the exam, you will in fact find yourself drawn to those very negative emotions. You need to have a bigger picture of what you're doing. So, how do you take care of or get rid of this myth? Well, one simple step is to take a few hours every week and just do something for someone else. It could be as simple as taking a family member to the movies, or going out with your kids and playing, or spending time volunteering in some capacity through your church or your community group, or through your work, doing some pro bono work if you're already a practicing lawyer. Do something that gives you a larger sense of self. Now, a couple of things will happen when that occurs. One is that you'll actually feel pretty good about yourself. You've done something nice for someone else, and you realize what wonderfully great gifts you have and great opportunity you have to be able to take the bar exam in the first place. Don't forget that there are literally millions of people in the world who will never get that opportunity or anything close to it. Even if you fail the exam, there are many people who will never get the chance to fail a bar. We are very privileged to be in this profession, no matter where we're coming from and no matter what our circumstances are, just to be able to take the bar exam. It's a privilege. And so the less that you obsess about your own needs, your own wants, and your own desires in this process, ironically, Counterintuitively, the better I've found people will do on the test. The less that you worry about what it means to you, and the more that you think about the benefits of passing for your family, your career, your friends, your community, your employer, your ability to help others, the better off you'll be. I'm struck when I talk to first-year law students about their optimism and their hope and enthusiasm that they have and the reasons that they want to practice law. Maybe you remember that from your own experience. And somehow we become cynical and hard-edged over a period of time. Thank you, law school experience. But, there are those people undoubtedly who came into law school saying, all I want to do is to be greedy and make millions of dollars in the law. I'm sure that's in the back of some people's minds. But that's normally not what's articulated. Normally what people say is, I want to be a lawyer. I want to pass the bar because I can use that skill to help other people. I want to feel like I'm an important part of my community. I have something to contribute to the world around me. Those are noble gestures. That's a good reason, I think, to be in the profession of law. And I would say that if you don't lose sight of what it means to be a kind and gentle member of our profession, that you're actually well on the road to passing the exam. So our first myth today is that it's not all about you. It's really all about those around you. And the more that you're sensitive and aware of those around you, the more productive and the more effective your studies will be. If you don't believe me, just try it for a week or two and see if you don't notice a difference. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, and I invite you to try that out. But I think that you'll find that when you make this not all about you, you're well on the way to getting a good solid base of success on the bar exam.